Are we ready? Welcome back to Going Down with Ella Yurman. My name is Ella Yurman, and I am here tonight for my court-mandated 30 minutes of not getting into fights online. And also, I guess we'll talk about the news. Is that cool? Yeah? Awesome. So this month, UPenn folded to Donald Trump and stripped transgender swimmer Lia Thomas of her medals. Look, I get it. A fair win sets a dangerous precedent for Wharton students who already have summer internships lined up at the lying, cheating, doing coke with the boss, and foreclosing on old people's homes using ChatGPT factory. What will they do? New York City is expecting 6 million visitors for its 250th anniversary celebration in 2026. Ugh. And you just know NYC is one of those bougie bitches who wants everyone to celebrate her birthday year. We can't treat you to dinner every single night, girl. NASA announced that starting this summer, it will stream rocket launches and spacewalks live on Netflix. And I hear they're making it like Bandersnatch, so the viewer decides who lives or dies. Relatedly, the New York Times reported that nearly half of America's murderers get away with it. I hope you're happy, Viola Davis. You. And perhaps the biggest story in America this month, Congress passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which slashes Medicaid and food aid to fund tax cuts for the rich, expand ICE, and prompted everyone and their mother to post about the real big beautiful bill. Yeah. They're all wrong, by the way. We all know it's Cosby. I mean, the bill from Schoolhouse Rock. The bill from Trump's bill will cut over $1 trillion from Medicaid and kids' health coverage. But you know what? I think we should trust him on this one. If anyone knows kids, it's the guy who knew exactly where to be when a bunch of them were drowning in a massive flood. The bill also gives $170 billion to immigration enforcement, making ICE the largest law enforcement agency in U.S. history. And with immigration fully under presidential control, experts warn it could lead to federally run labor camps, legal under the 13th Amendment's slavery loophole. Totally classic slavery loophole. Of course. Why wouldn't we have one of those? And no slavery unless we're in the mood. Oh, duh. Awesome. Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy even called the bill the most deeply immoral piece of legislation I have ever voted on in my entire time in Congress. And this is from the dude who gladly passed the Lighting Babies on Fire Act. I mean, last year's budget bill. We've got a great show for you tonight. We are going to talk about drugs. Nedezuga is here. Her debut single, Neurosis, is out on July 28th. And then I am going to bully ICE. But first, last month, the Supreme Court ruled that Tennessee could ban gender-affirming care for trans youth, jeopardizing that care across the United States. The New York Times Magazine covered the story with the headline, "How the Transgender Movement Bet on the Supreme Court and Lost." As if this was a Polish table tennis match and not a desperate attempt to defend basic human rights. Look, no trans person is betting on the Supreme Court.
Speak for yourself, Sugar Tush.
Oh. Who are you?
The name's Pinky the Dat. Pleasure to meet you, doll. And good news, you can stop looking for that sugar daddy or mommy if you're the lesbians types. Because Lady Luck has arrived. Snake eyes, double snakes.
Hold on. Sugar daddy, are you saying you're rich?
Not yet, kitten, but I will be. Because I just made the bet of a lifetime. My losing streak of 9 years ends today.
I'm sorry.
Snake eyes! Double snakes! Yes!
9 years?
Yeah, I got a good feeling about this one, and not just in my Queen of Spades. My psychic says cash is coming, my astrologist says I'm irresistible to abundance, and my gastroenterologist said that I need to call him right away. Things is looking ups.
Wait, I'm confused. What did you bet on?
Scrimeti versus US, 9-0 in favor of trans kids. Let's go, baby, all in.
Pinky, the decision already came down 6-3 against trans kids. I just said that.
No! Oh no, please no, that's gotta be different. I'm out of 42 grand. That was my life savings. They're gonna repo my pussy. Ella, please. They's gonna spackles off as my pussy. Please, you can't let him do it. You can't let him spackles my pussy.
Wait, hold on. Did you say you had savings?
Yeah, cause I'm from life.
What? Where did you get savings?
From life inside of a bank cell.
A bank? You stole it?
Allegedly.
Okay, well, either way, it was a dumb bet. Everyone knew the court was going to rule against us. The right hand picked this case to ban Cara and spread lies.
Claire Thomas, you silk-nosed snake, I tells you.
You probably should have bet on him quoting the New York Times. He did it 7 times, in his opinion.
7? Damn.
Look, that's the problem. The Times keeps pretending it's neutral while publishing headlines like, as kids they thought they were trans, they no longer do, and failing to quote trans people in their exploration of trans issues. Now they're pretending this was a gamble gone wrong and not a rigged game that they helped build.
Well, that's the Russian roulette.
This isn't Russian roulette, Pinky. It's a death match that we didn't sign up for. Conservatives just threw us in the ring and we're like, too late.
The ring? Say, is that their match televised? Because I really like to get in on that.
Pinky!
Oh, baby, snake size!
Pinky!
That's a double snake.
Hey! Pay attention.
What? I just need a little bit scratch to get back into Atlantic City.
You live in Atlantic City?
Relax, not a casino. On the boardwalk, where I bet on children who play the machines. All right.
What machines?
The machines. The skee ball machines. This one, let me tell you. Someone gave a vaginoplasty, made a pussy in a brain. No. All right, okay, sing, snake eye. There's a single. All right, you want to play some Texas Hold'em?
Just the two of us?
All right, fine. Instead we'll do Texas pole dump.
Okay.
I thought of that one myself.
Did you?
Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh.
Because I have a penis brain, not a pussy brain. The smarter sexual organ.
Okay, what is Texas pole dump?
Today, Texans are voting to put a statewide size restriction on truck nuts. All right, 900 to 1 odds. Let's say that's what it is.
No. No, I'm not taking that bet.
Okay, fine, new bet. J.D. Vance gets a semicolon tattoo.
Absolutely not.
Fine, 5-leg parlay. AOC converts to Mormonism. Brett Kavanaugh bans Coors Light. George Soros transitions, and Honey, she's fish. The IRS gets replaced by Hot Topic employees, and Zoran gets JFK'd.
You mean he gets assassinated?
No, he gets turned Russian by the gays. Scratch that, reverse it.
Okay, I mean, that is funny, but it's not gonna happen.
You never know. Hey, heads or tails? Let's go simple, heads or tails. Okay, so it went off screen. Does any of the tricks over there, can they tell me if it was heads or tails? And can you pass it back then? Because I need that to post bail. Uh-oh.
Look, maybe it's time to bet on the obvious. The government is not going to save us.
Where's the fun in that, Ella? It's titillating to believe. I don't want to let my wet, bleeding heart shrivel into a salt crystal like yours. I don't want to always bet on the worst outcome. I bet on the long arc of history. I bet on good people in bad systems. I bet on the American project. I bet on trans rights. And I bet on the Bears. Oh, come in a cannoli. I just lost $34K betting that the House would vote to save the last polar bear, but now they got Mike Johnson's eating it up with the frickin' spork and House fucking floor. Swear to gods.
Okay, and I'm seeing that Mike Johnson just disclosed a $34K windfall on Kalshi, the politics betting site.
That little guy, he rigged me. He shorted the system and he rigged the system.
Pinky, he is the system. You're betting against the House, and the House
always wins. Yeah, you got that right. All right. You're right. I'm out. No more betting. I'm going back to the only game which I reliably win every single time that I play it. Volleyball against little high schoolers. And the New York Times said that they're going to come write a fantastic piece about it. Some journalist named Pamela Paul.
All right, Pinky to debt, everyone. Get out of here.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. Our guest tonight is a writer, a journalist, and, according to at least one guy on X, shockingly fuckable. They have a Substack called Mental Health, and their new book, Breaking Awake, is a wild, brilliant look at America's mental health crisis and the drugs we use to survive it. It comes out September 9th and pairs well with both Zoloft and ayahuasca. Please welcome P.E. Moskowitz.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Surviving.
Surviving.
Largely thanks to drugs, I think.
Yes. Yeah. I texted you earlier in the week and I said, what do you want to talk about? And you said, oh, you know, drugs and how everyone is insane these days.
Yeah.
You still feel that way?
I mean, even more so than last week or earlier this week. Yeah. I think I feel more insane than I did 5 days ago.
Oh, any particular reason?
You know, the world being bad, mostly.
That has been
capitalism, I don't know if you've heard of it, but
No.
it's bad and makes me kind of want to blow my brains out. So
Well, I can't relate to that. Do not check Twitter. So your book, you went across the country talking to people who use various types of drugs and their experiences with mental health. Can you speak a little bit to the inspiration behind writing this book in the first place?
Sure. So about 7-8 years ago, I had what a 1950s housewife would call a nervous breakdown, and what I call a nervous breakdown. And I turned to a lot of drugs to kind of help me survive that. The kind of boring ones like Adderall and SSRIs to help me feel stable. The downers to keep me from feeling crazy all the time. And then finally the fun ones like ketamine and LSD and shrooms to kind of rebuild my life and reimagine a life for myself. And so I wanted to know if other people had used drugs in the same way to not only reimagine a life for themselves, but also maybe reimagine a kind of collective life, what the world could look like if we built it anew.
That's really beautiful.
Oh.
Did you have a favorite drug?
Yes, I do. 2CB would be my favorite drug, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I've never tried that one because it
Well, you
sounds
should.
scary because of all the letters.
Oh, no. The more letters, the safer a drug is.
Really?
Yeah.
I believe you.
Don't quote me on that for liability reasons.
Okay.
No, 2CB is great because it kind of feels like taking like a quarter of a tab of acid and then like half a Molly at the same time. So you're like in the club and you feel like really warm and want to touch people, but also like all the lines are squiggly,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm remembering in this moment, my mother is here. I've never done any of those drugs and don't know what they would feel like.
Yeah.
But I assume that's an apt metaphor. Can you talk a little bit about what your experience of doing this interview process of traveling, of writing the book was like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was both really depressing and really beautiful because everyone is in the same place in a way. Like obviously things like privilege, class, race affect what kind of place we're in, but at the same time, even the people who are like quote unquote stable, have jobs, everything, like everyone's really going through it right now. Depression is really intense. What they call deaths of despair are more and more common, and that's across the entire country. So that was the depressing part. But the cool part was realizing everyone was in the same place means that we can all kind of work on that together, whether, you're a suburban white woman in the outskirts of Chicago, or, you're an activist working with drug users in downtown Vancouver or whatever. We all kind of are realizing that the society is making us miserable, and that we're all using drugs as ameliorants to kind of not go crazy. And if we can all start from that baseline, maybe we can work together.
Is your general sense, when you say that we're all using drugs, are most people using prescription drugs or recreational drugs, or a mix of the, like, what's the temperature check on drug use in the country?
So about 25% of Americans are on a mental health medication right now, which is about double what it was 25 years ago. And something like 20% of people use illicit drugs. So obviously there's overlap there. But I'm talking about both because I think that whether prescription drugs or illicit drugs, often they perform the same purpose. Adderall is one molecule away from meth. And I've talked to meth users who say that taking a lot of Adderall feels like meth. So I think that there's a kind of false divide, this idea that, some are medications, some are drugs. All of them are just ways to kind of manipulate our brain chemistry in order to feel like we can make it through the day.
Where do you feel like this false dichotomy, the moralization of some drugs and not others, comes from?
America, I hate to break it to you, has a history of racism. Yeah. And basically how it all started was when there was a lot of immigration happening in the late 1800s. Basically, white people tried to make this false dichotomy between the kind of dangerous immigrant drug users and the good white people who needed medications. So the dangerous immigrants were using things like opium, and the good white people were getting medications like morphine, even though opium and morphine are essentially the same thing. And that persists to this day. If you look at me, I take Adderall almost every day. I do a host of other drugs, but and I go to parties where, New York Magazine or whatever is covering it as if it's cool to use a bunch of drugs, and then meanwhile we demonize people who are using different kinds of drugs or even the same drugs because they don't have the same privilege or class or whatever. So at the end of the day, to me, everyone is doing the same thing. It's just some people are valorized for it and some people are demonized.
That's really eloquent. Thank you. That's about all the time we have in this moment. If you want to hear more from P.E. Moskowitz, you can find the rest of this interview on our Patreon. We'll be right back. And now, a word from our sponsor.
As above, so below, what's the use in letting go? As below, so above, is that all you learn from love? In the heart, in the head, all I see is crimson red. In the head, in the heart, fear is tearing us apart. your skin. Certainty has always been balancing you on a pin. As within, so without. Earth and fire leave no doubt. You're an emerald in the ground, Mother Maiden, holy
Welcome back. Oh, yeah, and breaking news, local transsexual newswoman, insane and correct. On July 9th, a senior ICE official confirmed that the DOH built a team to investigate student protesters using a list from, Canary Mission! Wow! This confirms what we covered in last episode's desk piece and reporting by friend of the show Sophie Hurwitz and their sources who have been saying this exact thing for months. That's 1 point for Sophie and 1 point for me and 0 points for the guy in my comments who said my ears were too big. Moving on to our final story tonight, which is about ICE. Wow! Last month, protests broke out in Los Angeles and across the country in response to the Trump administration's wave of coordinated ICE raids. ICE agents are detaining people at work, school, church, even immigration hearings. And now they're pressuring people to self-deport, a phrase that makes about as much sense as self-kidnap or solo polyamory. To make matters worse, Trump's big, beautiful bill just passed in Congress, funneling over $170 billion into ICE and border enforcement, right after the Supreme Court cleared the way for Trump to end birthright citizenship by striking down nationwide injunctions. God, what will they think of next? A Youth Pastor Protection League sponsored by Axe Body Spray? Squid Game Season 4? La Boo Boo First Amendment rights? No, that is actually Second Amendment rights, but work. Republicans are even targeting elected officials, like New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani. On June 26th, Tennessee representative and man whose smile doesn't reach his mouth, Andy Ogles, tweeted, "Zohran Little Muhammad Mamdani needs to be deported," and then called for the Attorney General to denaturalize him. Yo, Andy, if you don't cut this shit out, you'll never see D's naturals. ICE terrorizes immigrants, rips families apart, and fuels racist fear. And they get away with it because they act as though they've always existed. But they haven't. They are only 22 years old. The Bush administration created ICE in 2003 during a post-9/11 panic by taking scraps of customs and immigration and fusing them into one big, ugly Frankenfuck. 22! That's basically my age. And though I may seem scary, I can't even finish a round of antibiotics. It's not a myth that you can't drink on them. You really can't drink on them. Like most 22-year-olds, and however old I am. ICE likes to say that they're much older and more experienced than they actually are by claiming they're descended from 200 years of violent immigration policy. Ooh, okay, old soul. Ooh, are those American Spirit blues in your pocket? Are you so cool because you stand outside the library after class hoping the seniors will notice you? You're not, and they won't. They won't. Also, don't brag about your connection to 1920s immigration infrastructure. Back then, the U.S. Border Patrol recruited literal KKK members as border vigilantes. You sound like Marco Rubio during Mahmoud Khalil's trial. Khalil, as most people probably know, was a Columbia University protester and lawful permanent resident who was kidnapped by ICE and taken to a detention center in Louisiana, which Marco Sticky Lips Rubio said was okay because of a provision in the obscure Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952. 1952? In 1952, Mr. Potato Head looked like if an art school teacher was a sleep paralysis demon. He looks like someone who won't leave the party until you try on his hat and go, oh my God, this hat, so cute. Unlike the new Mr. Potato Head, who's hot. Those eyebrows tell a story. Pear-shaped. After public outrage and a legal battle, Khalil was finally released and returned home after months in detention. But the crackdown on pro-Palestine speech hasn't stopped. In March, the State Department launched an AI-powered initiative to scan social media and flag visa holders who post anything the government deems as supporting Hamas or other designated terror groups. Convincing yourself every subtweet is about you and using that to justify a wildly disproportionate response? Exactly something a 22-year-old would do. To hit the Trump admin's new quotas, ICE has increased detentions by 25% since he took office. In April alone, ICE deported over 17,200 people, and they are being held in private prisons. And guess who's cashing in? Private prison corporations, set to rake in billions. That's right, billions. That show starring Paul Giamatti and some other people. Billions. I bet ICE hasn't even seen that show because they were 13 when it premiered. And I know that because I haven't seen that show, but I kept the joke in anyway because someone older than me told me to, and I wanted to seem mature and worldly. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis even built a massive facility to detain people before deportation nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz, which, to be honest, sounds less like a detention center and more like a rejected Donkey Kong Country level. ICE leans on all of this shit. Online hypervigilance bordering on delusions of grandeur, overly complex bureaucracy and/or references to Paul Giamatti's billions, and a completely unearned reputation for having their shit together to project the image of an unstoppable, all-powerful machine. But game recognized game. Because machines don't panic. 20-somethings do. The ICE crackdowns we're seeing now aren't signs of confidence. They're reactions to real resistance. ICE is in LA because protests are spreading. They're threatening Zoran because he's refusing to cooperate. And even if systems don't dismantle overnight, they make people visible. Protests remind the most targeted communities that someone is watching back. In Minneapolis, a large group of protesters blocked ICE from a raid after learning about their location via Reddit. Yeah, Reddit. The same site that gave us Am I the Asshole and reliable transition advice. Here's a white woman screaming, "F***ing Nazis, fuck you," while other white women flail trash at an ICE van. Of course, this is white woman trash, so it was probably mostly expired Kind bars and unread Elle magazines from a subscription they keep forgetting to cancel. In the upstate New York town where Trump's deportation czar Tom Homan lives, protesters helped free a woman and her 3 kids from ICE custody. 1,000 people showed up in a town of 1,500. Proof that nothing motivates civic engagement more like really, really hating your neighbor. But if you're not able to be out on the streets, there are still other things you can do. Follow the lead of undocumented communities who are using social media to send alerts about ICE raids, call out plainclothes officer sightings, and share other important information. This can range from an ICE at Myrtle Broadway Instagram story to this video where immigration lawyer Mariam Masumi Dowd breaks down what to do if ICE tries to detain someone in your community.
If you see ICE detaining someone in public, stay calm, but don't walk away. If you're seeing someone being arrested on the street, on the sidewalk, outside of their place of work, pull out your phone and record everything.
Don't forget, if you're sharing info about an ICE sighting, include what matters. Date, time, number of agents, what they're wearing. Even though I know what you're wearing, you evil 22-year-old bitch. I know what it looks like to buy a totally impractical top on Grailed for way too much money because you thought it was 90s vintage. But guess what, girl? It's actually Shein. It's always actually Shein. ICE runs on compliance, on people opening the door, staying quiet, assuming nothing can be done. And yes, they just got handed $170 billion. They're violent. They're backed by the full weight of the government. Being scared of that is not an overreaction. In fact, it's self-defense. But it's also what they rely on to function. And every time we decide not to be scared, not to comply, anytime we organize or delay or disrupt, we're saying, I will not give in to your evil 22-year-old power, you ugly son of a bitch named George Bush. You're not untouchable or inevitable. You're the same age as Jojo Siwa. Or Ella Yurman, basically. They can't do their job without our fear. They are counting on you to forget that. Do not let them. We'll be right back. That's our show! Thank you to Brick, to Esther, to PE, to Nedezuga, to Reid, Skylar, our writers, our patrons, our incredible crew, and of course, to you all in the live studio audience. Give it up for yourselves! Good night!
You and your apolitical friends think it's the end. We're all kidding ourselves. You're cynical and always right. I put up a fight. You've got the world on your shelf. Can you live with yourself? No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it. Can you live with yourself? I heard you studied philosophy at an Ivy League, and you did it just for fun. No need to fight for change. Just cast off blame. Look in the mirror, swallow your shame.
School you're eating structure and proofs. Why not put them to use? And choose the world that you're in. And if you're hearing the song and you're singing along, then it's not too late to begin. And if not, well,
Can you live with yourself? I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it. Can you live with yourself? You know what they say. First they came for all the people I don't care about. Though I'm sure after this war we'll all know peace and no one will comfort me. 'Cause history never repeats. I bet you wonder how I fucking sleep. Can you live with yourself?
no, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it.
Can you live with yourself?
Hi, I'm Ella Yurman, host of Going Down with Ella Yurman. Does our title make you think of a sinking ship or oral sex? If you said ship, you crave stability. If you said oral, you crave validation. Either way, like, subscribe, go down below and leave a comment. And then go over to our Patreon at patreon.com/goingdownshow for exclusive content and hot takes that I legally can't post on Maine. That's patreon.com/goingdownshow. Bye! Mwah.